Good afternoon or good morning, wherever you happen to be in Australia. Welcome to this week's coin news video. I'm Mark from the Purple Penny in Adelaide. We run a coin shop here, my wife and I, and we've been publishing these videos for almost a year now. I think this is the 43rd one we've done this year. Excuse me. It's a bit of fun every week to talk about what's been going on in the world of coins and banknotes, and I guess to pass on a bit of news about what it's like running a coin shop. Today's been a bit of a disaster, actually. I create all the slides for these videos in Canva, and I got up early this morning at home and did that, and got in here into the shop, and Canva had died. So if it's a bit disorganised this morning, I do apologise in advance for that. And we've been rushing to get some other things set up, so unfortunately the video is not probably as high quality as it could be. So hello Michael and Ogie and Jared. Hello Jared, thank you for watching. I don't know if you know, Jared is our employee that works with us on Saturdays and during the school holidays. Jared's a pretty keen coin collector and has been super helpful having him here in the shop. It's great to have someone else about the place who brings a bit of knowledge and enthusiasm that Catherine and I don't have. Hello Tim and Ash, Paul and Mike. So the shop this week was quite busy. Quite busy in terms of sales and purchasing. Those of you who follow us on Facebook might have seen that big gold nugget that we bought a couple of weeks ago, the 135 grammer, that sold this week. It sold much faster than we expected it to. We bought a really nice collection of German coins and banknotes, a big collection of those, quite a comprehensive collection from about 1900 through to the early 1950s. There's been a big German stamp collection come in as well, which I need to look at. I'm not looking forward to that. I don't know a lot about German stamps, and I may well end up sending that person off to another place for those, so that they get good value for money for them. And the highlight of the week was a lady who came down from Port Lincoln, which those of you who don't know, South Australia, Port Lincoln is a coastal town about 6 hours drive west of Adelaide. Port Lincoln is of course where they do all the tuna fishing. She had several kilos of pennies, and they were mostly well circulated, corroded, in poor condition, but there were 6 1925 pennies in the lot, which was quite remarkable. I've never seen that many in a batch of pennies like that before, and she was super pleased. She certainly felt like it was worth her trip over, so yeah, congratulations to her. Now Facebook has changed the live system this week. It's all different now, and I'm not really sure whether it's working the same way that it was before. Certainly the number of viewers is right down, but we shall see as we go along. I haven't forgotten about the rolls from last week. The two, I'm just trying to think of what the coin was, the two ambulance rolls from last week. 2 people will be chosen to be able to purchase those at release price. I just haven't extracted a digit and got onto that yet, but it will certainly happen. I haven't forgotten about that. So let's jump into the news for the week. So there's new releases this Thursday, and that's the mint set, the proof set, the 2021 mint set, the 2022 mint set, the 2022 mint set, and then the first of the coloured train 50-cent pieces, which is a new series. And those coloured train coins are being released in 2 different ways. They're being released individually on a card or with a collector folder, and the collector folder includes spots for the remainder of that series. I believe there's another 6 or 7 coins, I'm not exactly sure. all of our allocation of coins with the folders have arrived. The individual coins on cards are delayed. We're not sure when or if they're even going to come, so it will be interesting to see how that pans out. The mint sets and proof sets are here, and they will be available for pickup from Thursday. And just for something a bit new this week, we've been thinking about how people can register their interest in new products that's easier for them and easier for us, especially people that can't come in here and pick up in the shop, because we're always keen to look after people out there in the rest of Australia rather than in Adelaide. But there's no denying it is more work for us to keep track of what people are interested in and then manually enter order details and things like that. So what we've done is and I'm going to post this in the comments here, is we've created a registration of interest product on our website for the 2022 uncirculated set, and the 2022 uncirculated set contains a specially designed $2 coin dedicated to Australia's frontline workers. And I'm not giving anything away there that I'm not allowed to. That's what the Mint have how they've described it on their Facebook page. So all you need to do with this link that I'm about to post is, if you're interested in registering your interest in one of those Mint sets, just go and add that item to your cart on our webpage and check out. You won't be able to pay. In fact, we can't take payment because we can't guarantee that we can actually get a set for you. But at least then we'll have your name and your email and your address, and if we do get enough sets and we can allocate one for you, we'll be in contact sort of later in this week or early next week, and with information on how to pay. So I'm just posting that link now in the comments there. Please, if you are interested in grabbing one of those sets, go and register your interest there, and we'll be in touch later this week or early next week, and with payment details and so on and so forth, if we've got enough mint sets to satisfy the demand. Right, $2 market still going nuts. I've noticed that a number of other coins are being dragged up with the hype around the end of World War II $2 coin. Planetary sets are well over $2,000 now. I noticed that MS65 Red Poppies they've cracked the 300 mark. Purple Coronations are pushing up. It is a very crazy time, I think, and the only advice I can give you is don't go chasing the prices up too much on those things. The end of World War II $2 mintages are almost certainly not finalised. I did notice with interest that someone posted up a screenshot of a message from the Mint Facebook page on October the 30th, where someone actually asked what the mintage of the end of World War II coins was going to be, and the Mint person that was looking after the Facebook page said there were expected to be 2 million of the coins minted. They just haven't all been released yet, would be my guess, and they certainly will, I believe, still come out into circulation. There was 3 interesting coin tidbits that popped up in the news this week. One of them has got excellent coverage. There was a cache of British silver shillings found in an archaeological dig of the old convict workrooms. Several silver shillings, and the archaeologists believe that it's about a week's pay for a prison guard at Port Arthur in the sort of middle 1800s, and that perhaps a convict had actually stolen those shillings and buried them in the convict workrooms. It was illegal for convicts to have money. It was illegal for them to have means of exchange, but that didn't stop them from creating gambling tokens and gaming tokens and using things like tobacco and food as currency. It was certainly very illegal to have money, and a convict has buried that money, perhaps hoping to get it back at a later point, but never did. So that's a fascinating find. I believe that they're engaging a numismatist to do some research into those shillings. I'd be interested in knowing who that person was, because I'd like to know what it is that they're seeing. Follow on from last week about coins being used as good luck tokens. The G20, which is a conference of leaders of countries or something or other, an economic conference in Italy that started a few days ago. Many of the leaders had a press event at the Fontana di Trevi, which is a famous fountain in Rome, and they threw coins into the fountain as an indication of good luck. So that was another interesting way of using coins as good luck tokens. And Michael Edwards could probably tell us here what this means. I noticed that a coin dealer has started selling images of coins as NFTs, and NFTs are non-fungible tokens, and they're linked to Ethereum coins, which are those crypto coins. And NFTs have been in the news recently because of artwork that is being sold with an associated NFT. And there is a dealer I believe in Italy, that is now selling images of coins that come with an NFT. And as an added bonus, when you buy the NFT for the coin image, you actually get the real coin, which I think is probably a bit better than the NFT that comes along with it. So I thought that was an interesting way that physical coins or physical currency has moved into the virtual currency realm. And it leads to sort of all sorts of interesting things with the idea, perhaps PCGS could associate NFTs with the registry numbers on slabs and things like that as another way of determining authenticity. Which is an interesting idea there, that perhaps someone who is much smarter than me could use physical characteristics of coins to actually help generate the NFT, so that Ethereum token is a signal of authenticity for the coin that it's associated with. Anyway, a bit technical. I'm not sure that I understand it. I kind of understand it around the edges. Now, the topic of the week was, this week I thought I would just relay a little bit of what it's like running a coin and banknote shop, and it's probably appropriate there that the phone out there rang. We get 20, 30 phone calls a week, I guess, in here, and it is amazing how often we get asked the same questions, and it's amazing how often those questions are related to coins that people have found, got onto the internet and done a bit of a quick search, and then rung up a coin dealer in an effort to realise some of the perceived value that they have in the coins that they've found. And mostly the coins that they find are foreign. And why are mostly these coins foreign that people ring us up about? I guess it's because if you find a $2 coin or a dollar coin, it's not anything remarkable if you're here in Australia. It doesn't mean anything to you. So you're not going to go and jump onto Google and look it up and find out what it is. Now, on the flip side, you compare that with an English coin or an American coin, or a coin from any other country. You don't necessarily know what it is that you're looking at, and you're going to jump onto the internet and do a quick Google, and if you come across an article that suggests your coin that you've found is worth some money, then you're probably going to ring up a coin dealer and give them the third degree about how you can sell this thing and what sort of money you can make out of it. Let's jump on to the first one here, and I'm not going to cover this one for very long. The 1988-89 $2 coin, which of course has the initials of Horst Hahn on the rib cage of the Aboriginal elder on the reverse. There are 190 million minted, 190 plus million minted in 88 and 89, and they're worth $2. Now, where did this come about? It came about from initially a guy on TikTok who did quite a good video talking about people on eBay that were asking ridiculous prices for one of these coins. And I got no problems with his video at all. He was quite open that these people weren't going to get that money for it, and that he didn't understand why they were asking that money for it. But his video was then picked up by a Channel 9 or Channel 7 journalist, I can't remember, and that journalist spent 99% of their article talking about people asking $10,000 for these coins, and then in virtually the very last sentence of the article they said that none of them had sold for $10,000. Of course, most people don't read the articles all the way to the bottom. They read the first few sentences or even just the headline. So as a consequence, I would say at least once or twice a week we get a phone call from someone. Usually the conversation starts with, do you buy rare coins? And to me, that's a red flag, because if someone rings me up and says, do you buy rare coins? Most of the time I think, yes, we do. But if you're asking that question, you probably don't have any, which is a bit cynical, but it is the truth. And many times after the do you buy rare coins question, we get asked about 1988 and 89 $2 coins. They're only worth $2. That's a subject that I've flogged to death. Let's jump on to the next one. So, wrong slide. Using the wrong mouse. The Great Britain 1971 2 newpence. So in 1971, the British government, the Royal Mint, minted this 2 newpence coin. There were 1.5 billion of them minted, and they had newpence on them because, of course, England had transitioned from pound, shilling and pence to decimal pounds and pence in 1967, I think. And all of the coins had newpence on them to signify that they were different from the old 12 pennies to the pound. And, of course, now it's 100 pence to the pound. They've decimalised that. So all of the coins for a while had newpence written on them to signify that they were not the same as the old pennies and half pennies. And in particular, the 1971 2 newpence gets a lot of traction on the internet because in 1983, the Royal Mint removed the new from the coin. But for some reason, by mistake, they accidentally muled the 1983 obverse with the old reverse. So there were some minted that had newpence still on them. That's only the 1983, not the 1971. People out there in internet land that get ad clicks on their articles or get paid per view on YouTube have cottoned onto this, and because the 1971 2 newpence is so common, there are literally hundreds and hundreds of articles and videos out there perhaps suggesting that it is a valuable coin, that the 1971 2 newpence is in fact a valuable coin. Now, why do they suggest it's valuable? Because you're going to read the article or watch the video if you believe your 1971 2 newpence is valuable. If you're told straight away that it is worthless, which it is worthless, then you're going to stop watching. You're not going to allow that author or video content generator to generate some revenue from your eyeballs. So 1971 newpence, 2 newpence, not a valuable coin, 1.5 billion minted. What you want to look out for is a 1983 2 newpence, because that is a mule error and that is worth quite a few $100s. I would say this is the most common question that we get asked on the phone, because it seems that everyone in Australia that has been to the UK in the 1970s brought these back in their pockets, and people find them in a desk drawer or in a jar or in, an old purse, and Google it up, and they get all these articles saying that it's valuable and straight on the phone to us. Next one is another British coin. Again, I suspect because many of these £1 coins came back to Australia in people's pockets at the end of holidays. For a while, Britain edge-lettered their £1 coins. Why do they edge-letter coins? It's to prevent counterfeiting, because that edge lettering prevents a coin from being easily cast. You can't cast a fake coin with edge lettering because you can't withdraw it from the mold. So edge lettering is kind of, it's a way of preventing counterfeiting. And if you do a bit of reading about the coin manufacturing process, in most cases, edge lettering is applied after a coin is minted. And of course, if that's the case, unless there's some system there that makes sure that the head side or the reverse side is the same way up every time before the edge lettering is applied, it means that on some of the coins, the edge lettering will be the correct way up oriented to the head side of the coin, and then other times it'll be the correct way up oriented to the tail side of the coin. In reality, it's 50-50. Half the coins are one way and half the coins the other way. Again, this is one of these things that internet authors and video content generators have cottoned onto, and I think deceptively have said that if the edge lettering is the wrong way up, that is, it is aligned to the tail side of the coin, then it's an error. And it's garbage. It's not an error. They are half one way up and half the other way up. I would say that this would be something we get asked once every 2 weeks, sometimes a few times a week. It's quite remarkable. And I guess it's because people find these coins and they get on the internet and they see these articles and they go, hey, I'm onto something here. And it's actually got to the point now where we've had enough people come in here with these coins trying to tell us that they're an error that we have a little bag of them hanging off the shelf out the front so that we can get, so that we can prove that they're half one way and half the other. So it's an interesting thing. Last one, and this is something that was much more common about a year ago, and it was primarily people in Australia searching up the value of a 1943 penny. And here in Australia, pennies were minted in Melbourne, Perth and India in 1943, and people would type in 1943 bronze or 1943 penny value, and what they would actually see is a picture of an Australian penny above an article talking about the value of a 1943 US cent. And it's important to understand a couple of things here. One is that Americans, for whatever reason, they call their cents pennies. And of course, they're not pennies, they're cents. There's 100 cents in a US dollar, and they've never been pennies, but that's what they call them. And number two, in 1943, all the US cents were minted from steel, which was the only year that they did it. And they're exceptionally unusual looking coins, 1943 steel pennies. But if you can find one that isn't rusted and is lustrous, they are beautiful things. They're not rare. Hundreds of millions of them were made. Why did they make them from steel? Because the bronze was required for the war effort. It was being used for shells and bullets and all sorts of things that were required during World War II. Now, for some reason, one of the coin presses that was used to mint steel pennies had 7 or 8 bronze planchets from 1942 jammed in it, and as a consequence, a handful of 1943 US cents were minted in bronze, and they are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Australian 1943 bronze penny is generally worth nothing, because almost all the ones that you see are well worn. That none of them are low mintages, and they're generally worth nothing. So, a 1943 Australian penny, a bronze penny, has no particular value. A 1943 USA bronze cent, if it's genuine, has a lot of value. That's the end of the topic for today. Let's look at some questions here. Michael Edwards is saying, this is just with regards to selling images of coins with NFTs. NFTs are non-fungible tokens. Michael's saying that most likely VE chain will be used to authenticate products, not ETH. Now, I only vaguely understand what that means. What I talked about before was just based on the research I did last night. G'day, Paul. G'day. How do we go with the film crew this week? When will it be on air? The film crew, from those of you who didn't know, we had Channel 7 Adelaide come in here on Wednesday morning just before we opened. Michael Smith, who's a reporter for Channel 7 here in Adelaide, and he creates a 3-minute segment every Sunday called Flashback, and it airs on the Channel 7 news segment here in Adelaide between 6 and 7 p.m. Last night, for example, it was about Malcolm Campbell and his speed records up in Lake Eyre in the 1960s. So Michael Smith and his cameraman Angus came in here for about 45 minutes on Wednesday, and they wanted to talk about the changeover from dollar notes to dollar coins in 1984. That's what they're going to be looking at. I refused to be interviewed. As a consequence, Catherine had to do it, and she did a fantastic job, and let's face it, she's a lot better looking than what I am. And that will air this Sunday on Channel 7 News here in Adelaide between 6 and 7 p.m. It looks like they mostly put them up on their social channels or on YouTube, and as soon as we find a link to that video, we will share that link on our Facebook page. And if they don't put it up, I'll actually talk to Michael directly and see if we can get a copy of it to share out to everyone on our social channels. It was a good fun experience. It's always good to get a bit of free media coverage, and Catherine did a great job. So David Trotter says that his mate was excited because he found 20 1916 halfpennies, and I know where that story is going. Those of you who don't know, the 1916 halfpenny was minted in India, and some very few number of those coins were muled with a Indian half anna or quarter anna, I can't remember, an Indian copper coin obverse, and it says king and emperor on the obverse rather than the usual Latin abbreviation. They're worth a lot of money. Of course, David Trotter's friend didn't have any of those. I guess you get excited when you see those huge numbers and don't follow on. Michael Edwards says, did you see the SA police post regarding counterfeit $50 notes? I thought they were designed in a way to make it impossible to make. I think it's pretty difficult to make a convincing fake, Michael. But given the nature of the observational skills of some people that are in shops, you don't need to make a very convincing fake to get it through. Those Chinese play money $50 notes and $100 notes that had the huge red Chinese characters on them managed to get through quite a few people's hands here in South Australia, and if those things can get through people's hands, then even a reasonable facsimile of a note is likely to get through people's hands, mate. So yeah, and that's trying not to say bad things about people not keeping their eyes open. Right, so that's it. Thank you everyone for watching. As I said, if you're interested in registering your interest for a 2022 Frontline Workers Mint set, please look for the link in the comments and go and pop one of those into your cart along with your name, address and phone number and email, and we'll get in touch with you when they're in stock. And if you still want it, you can pay for it and we'll ship it out to you. Everyone else, thank you for your feedback and your questions. It's always a pleasure doing these videos, always looking for topics and information from people. So please do get in contact with me or Catherine. Give us a call, send us an email, send us a Facebook message. This Friday is the first Friday of the month, and that means that the Purple Penny Presents is in action on the Gravy Train. The Gravy Train is a Facebook group of coin collectors that's run by some great moderators, and it's a great information site. There's no buying or selling on there, so a lot of that mercenary rubbish is left by the wayside. Great group. If you are getting started, please go and join up to the Gravy Train, and first Friday of every month we have a video there and you can win a small prize, usually something that I'm sick of looking at that's been sitting around here for too long. Please do watch that. Go and join up to the Gravy Train. It's a great group on Facebook. Okay, everyone, have a great week. Stay safe. Enjoy it if you're out and about. If you can get out and travel and things like that, please enjoy those freedoms. It's great that we're coming out of all this rubbish. So bye, everyone. Stay safe and happy collecting.